My name is Pausanias, son of Cleombrotus, regent of Sparta, commander of the alliance. 38,000 men wait behind me on the plain of Plataea, and not one of them trusts the man beside him. This is what they do not write down. They write down the numbers. They write down the formations. They write down which city sent how many hoplites and whether they arrived on time. They do not write down what it costs a man to stand at the center of an alliance that is held together by nothing except the fear of something worse. They do not write down the night before, the fire that burns too low to be useful, the runner who came from the Athenian camp at the third hour with a message I already knew, the sound of 38,000 men not sleeping. I know that sound now. It is not silence. It is the opposite of silence. It is every man making the small sounds of a man who is pretending not to be afraid, and when you multiply that by 38,000, it becomes a kind of roar that never stops. I have been listening to it since midnight. There is a staff in my hand, polished ash wood, the length of my arm from shoulder to palm. My father carried it at Thermopylae. He did not come back from Thermopylae, so the staff came back without him. It has been in my hand for 3 years now, and I do not know if I carry it because it steadies me or because I am still waiting for him to ask for it back. The record will not write this down either. What the record will write is this. Pausanias, son of Cleombrotus, regent of Sparta, commanded the allied Greek forces at Plataea in August of 479 BC. The Persian army under Mardonius numbered, by various estimates, between 100,000 and 300,000 men. The Greek alliance numbered 38,700 hoplites plus light troops. Pausanias led the Spartan contingent on the right flank, which was the position of honor and the position of maximum risk. The battle lasted 1 day. The Persian army was destroyed. Mardonius was killed. Greece was saved. That is what the record will say. It will not say what I was thinking the night before, standing at the edge of the camp with my father's staff in my hand, looking out at the lights of the Persian camp on the other side of the Asopus River, trying to count them, losing count, trying again. Mardonius, I've studied him the way you study a man you intend to kill. His cavalry is better than ours. His archers number in the tens of thousands, and at Thermopylae they darkened the sky before noon. His infantry, the immortals, are disciplined and experienced, and have not lost in living memory. He has chosen his ground carefully. His right flank is anchored to the river. He has cavalry on the flanks that can encircle us if we advance across open ground. He is not a fool. He is a very good general fighting on terrain he chose, with supply lines that work, against an alliance that has nearly broken apart twice already this week. I know this because 3 days ago the Athenians sent a message threatening to withdraw. The Megarians sent a message complaining about their position in the line. The Corinthians have not spoken to the Athenians since the argument about precedence on the third day. I spent 6 hours of a night I did not have arbitrating a dispute about which city had more right to the center position. 38,000 men who cannot agree on anything except that they do not want to die. I understand this. I am one of them. Sparta sent 5,000 Spartiates to Plataea. 5,000. When I was young, my trainer told me that number was sacred, that the Spartiate hoplite was the finest soldier in the world, that 5,000 of us were worth 10 times our number in any other army. I believed him. I believed everything he told me, because that is what you do in the Agoge, when you are 7 years old and the choice is to believe or to be cold. At Thermopylae, 300 held the pass for 3 days. 300 held it, my father among them. My father held it until Ephialtes showed the Persians the goat path around the mountain, and then the 300 held it until they could not hold it anymore, and then they held it until they were dead, and that was the end. I was not at Thermopylae. I was in Sparta, running the errands of the regency, handling the politics of a city that had sent its best men to die in a narrow pass, and was trying to decide whether that death had been worth something. The record says I was not there because I was too young. The record is being generous. I was 22 years old, and I was in Sparta because someone had to be, and because my father had told me to stay, and because I was not Leonidas, and I knew it, and because knowing it was its own kind of weight. I have carried that weight to Plataea. The river sounds different at night. The Asopus runs between our camp and theirs, and during the day you cannot hear it because there is too much else to hear. But at night, the river finds its voice again, and it sounds like nothing so much as the river that ran behind my father's house in Sparta, where he used to sit in the evenings and drink watered wine and talk to me about what a man owes the city that made him. He said the debt was total. He said it was not a transaction but a condition. You do not pay the city back. You simply are, in every moment, the thing the city required of you. There is no remainder. There is no credit. There is only the man the Agoge built, doing what the Agoge built him to do until there is nothing left of him to do it with. He said this the week before he left for Thermopylae. I did not understand it then. I thought I did. I was wrong. The runner arrives from the Athenian camp at the second watch. His name is Arimnestos. He is a Plataean, which is appropriate since we are fighting on his city's territory. He has been running messages between the camps for 3 days, and he runs them without complaint, which means I trust him more than I trust half the generals I am commanding. He brings a message from Aristides. Aristides commands the Athenians, 8,000 hoplites, the largest contingent after Sparta. He is a careful man, a precise man, a man who uses words the way a mason uses stone, with no waste. His message tonight is 4 sentences. It says the Athenian position is prepared. It says the Athenians are ready to hold the left flank. It says Aristides has received reports of Persian cavalry movement north of the river and believes a flanking action is possible before dawn. And it says, at the end, that whatever I decide, the Athenians will do. Whatever I decide. I stand with that for a long time. 38,000 men are waiting on what I decide. The Greeks of 100 cities, men who have never agreed on a single thing in their lives, men who built democracies specifically so that no single man could tell them what to do, standing in a field in Boeotia in August, waiting for me to tell them what to do. And in the morning I will tell them, and some number of them will die because of what I tell them. I send Arimnestos back with a reply. Hold the left. Do not advance until the signal. The signal will be a trumpet call from the Spartan right, 3 notes, and when you hear it, advance. Not before. 3 notes. I chose 3 because 3 was my father's number. He counted in 3s. 3 days at Thermopylae, 3 sons, 3 debts. I did not tell Aristides this. I just chose 3. Somewhere in the Persian camp, a drum begins. It is a single drum, low and patient, and it beats in a rhythm I do not recognize. A rhythm that has nothing to do with war, that sounds instead like the rhythm of a very large thing breathing. I have heard Persian drums before, at the news reports that came back from Marathon, from Thermopylae. I have never heard one from this distance, in the dark, with nothing between me and it, except a river I could wade across in 5 minutes. The drum beats. I count the beats. 30, 40, 50. I stop counting. There is a moment before battle, a real one, not the one the poets write about. The poets write about fire in the blood, about the god descending, about the warrior's heart crying out for glory. The real moment is quieter than that. The real moment is when you understand, with your body rather than your mind, that tomorrow is the day, that the waiting is ending, that everything you have done and failed to do and meant to do has led to this specific field on this specific day. And there is no more room for intention, only for action, and the action will be what it will be. And you will either survive it or you will not. The real moment is cold. It sits in the stomach. It does not move. I have been sitting with it since the drum began. I think about the alliance. Sparta and Athens have been enemies for longer than either city would like to admit. We are built on different principles. Athens believes in the logos, in the argument, in the citizen who speaks and votes and changes his mind. Sparta believes in the body, in the silence of 10 years of training, in the man who does not need to be told because he already knows. We have gone to war against each other before. We will go to war against each other again, probably within my lifetime. And yet, here we are, 8,000 Athenians on the left, 5,000 Spartiates on the right, and between us, the Tegeans and the Corinthians and the Megarians and the Plataeans and a dozen other cities that can barely say each other's names without a sneer. And we are here, in this field, because the alternative was to not be here, to have bowed the head and paid the tribute and become the outer province of an empire that reaches from Egypt to India. We are here because there is something we agree on, even if we cannot name it. Even if the moment the battle is over, we will go back to disagreeing about everything else. I find this sufficient. Not noble, not glorious, just sufficient. It is enough to fight for a thing you cannot name, as long as you know what the thing is not. Dawn comes without announcement. The sky does not turn red. It does not turn gold. It simply becomes less dark, by degrees so small you cannot catch them happening, until you realize that what you thought was darkness is now merely shadow, and then the shadow lifts. And the plain of Plataea is there, flat and brown and enormous, and the Persian camp is there on the other side of the river, and it is much larger than the darkness made it seem. Much larger. I count the fires still burning. I lose count at 200. The staff is in my hand. I have not slept. The Spartiates form up at first light. I watch them from the command position, and I know them. Every one of them. Not by name. There are too many for that. But by posture, by the way they hold the aspis, by the specific angle at which a man who has been doing this for 20 years carries his 8-foot doru. I know them the way you know your own hands in the dark. They form the phalanx in silence, 8 men deep. The shields interlock on the left side, the neighbour's shield protecting the right side of the man beside him, so that the formation becomes one thing, one surface, one wall of bronze and wood and breath. I have stood in that wall. I know what it feels like from the inside. The weight of the shield on your left arm after the first hour. The way the man on your right breathes into your ear. The sound the doru makes when the line braces for impact. A sound like the world settling its weight. Today I am not in the wall. Today I am behind it. This is the part they do not tell you about command. That you will spend the battle watching other men do the thing you trained your whole life to do. And your job will be to stand behind them and send the right signals at the right moment. And the hardest part will not be the signals. The hardest part will be watching. Mardonius advances at mid-morning. His cavalry comes first, as I knew it would. They cross the river at the shallow ford north of our position and swing wide, trying to reach the Megarian contingent on our far right. The Megarians send a runner. They are taking fire. Their shields cannot hold cavalry. They need support. I send the Athenian archers to the Megarian position. I make this decision in less than 10 seconds. I will spend the rest of the day wondering if it was the right one. The cavalry attack on the Megarian position lasts 40 minutes. At the end of it, the Persian cavalry commander, Mecistius, is dead. His horse stumbled on the rocky ground at the edge of the Megarian line, and when he fell, the Athenians were on him before he could remount. The Persians made 3 attempts to recover his body. They failed all 3 times. Mecistius was one of the finest cavalry commanders in the Persian army. He is also now dead, which is what matters. The cavalry withdraws. The plain is quiet again. I count the men still standing in the Megarian line. I do not finish counting. The omens are wrong. My seer, Pausanias of Elis, performs the sacrifice at the 11th hour and reads the liver 3 times. All 3 times he gives me the same answer. The omens favor defense, not attack. Defense. The Persian infantry has begun to advance. I understand what Pausanias is telling me. He is not telling me the gods are against us. He is telling me that the numbers are against us on open ground, and that if I hold the position and let them come to us, if I force them to climb the rocky slope to reach us, the ground becomes a weapon and the numbers matter less. He's probably right. I tell the Spartiates to hold. The order passes down the line. Do not advance. Hold the position. Let them come. The Persian archers release. The sky fills. I have seen a volley from Persian archers at distance, and it looks like weather, like the sky deciding to shed something. And then it arrives, and it is not weather. It is the specific weight of an arrowhead at the end of a shaft, multiplied by 10,000. And it makes a sound when it hits bronze that I will be hearing for the rest of my life, assuming I have a rest of my life. The line holds. The phalanx does not break. It never breaks. That is the point of it. The aspis absorbs the arrows that can be absorbed, and the ones that find gaps in the armor do what they do, and the line closes over the gaps and continues to hold. The Persian infantry hits our line. What I know about battle is this. From inside the phalanx, you cannot see anything except the shield of the man in front of you and the face of the man across from you. You are not fighting an army. You are fighting one man, the man directly in front of you, and then the next man, and then the next. The battle is not strategic from inside it. It is 1 foot of ground at a time, 1 man at a time, 1 second at a time. From behind the phalanx, you can see everything and do almost nothing. I can see the left flank holding. I can see the Persians pressing harder on the Spartan right. I can see that the center is stable, but the far right is starting to bow, not break, but bend, the way a wall bends before it cracks. I send a runner to the Tegeans, who hold the position between the Spartans and the center. Redress the right, close toward the Spartan line, cover the gap. The runner goes. I do not know if he arrives. I cannot know. From here, I can see the shape of the battle, but not its texture. From here, I can read the whole line, as a commander reads it, and I cannot read a single man within it. I gave orders to 38,000 men, and I'm standing here with my father's staff in my hand, watching those orders become something else in the hands of the men who carry them out. Because orders always become something else. Because a battle is not a plan is what the plan becomes when it meets the other side. Mardonius dies at the 3rd hour of the battle. I do not see it happen. I learn it from a runner who came from the Spartan right. The Immortals were pressing our line hard. They had pushed us back 20 feet. And then Mardonius rode forward into the press, which is what great commanders do when the moment is turning. And an Athenian or a Spartan, the record is not sure which, struck him from his horse. And when Mardonius fell, the Immortals stopped. The Immortals stopped. I have been thinking about this moment for 30 years, and I still do not have a word for it. An army stops. The largest army in the world, an army that has not stopped in 10 years of campaign, stops in the middle of a battle, because one man fell. I gave the signal then. 3 trumpet notes. 3. The Persian army broke in the direction of their camp. 100,000 men, or whatever the true number was, turned and ran. And when an army that size runs, it runs the way a river floods. It covers everything. It has no direction except away. Our cavalry, what we had of it, went after them. The Athenians went after them. Everybody went after them. I stood on the ridge and watched Greece win. I want to tell you I felt something enormous in that moment. I want to tell you the weight lifted, that something resolved, that I understood what my father meant when he said the debt was total. I want to tell you the 3 notes of the trumpet still rang in the air, and I heard them the way my father would have heard them, and everything was clear. What I felt was tired. My feet hurt. I had not eaten since the previous afternoon. My hands were cramped around my father's staff, and when I tried to loosen my grip, I found I could not. And I had to use my other hand to peel my fingers off the wood one by one, and the wood was warm from the heat of my palm. And that warmth was the most honest thing I had felt all day. 38,000 men who could not agree on anything had just done something that would be written down for as long as anyone wrote anything down. I was the one who commanded them. I did not feel like a liberator. I felt like a man who had been holding something very heavy for a very long time, and had set it down, and did not know yet if his hand still worked. The dead. The Spartans lost 91 men at Plataea. 91. I know all their names. I will know them for the rest of my life. A number like that does not let you forget. When the poets write about Plataea, they will write about the size of the Persian army, and the decisiveness of the Greek victory, and the name of the commander who made it happen. They will not write 91 names. They do not have a form for 91 names. They have a form for numbers, for totals, for the ratio of our dead to theirs, which was favourable. I do not think in ratios. I think in 91. Evening. The fires in the Persian camp are ours now. The Asopus River still runs. I am sitting at the edge of the ridge where I stood this morning, and the plain below is dark except for the burning, and the figures moving through the burning. And it is very quiet now, the way a thing is quiet after it has been very loud. Tissamenus sits beside me. He does not speak. He has been performing sacrifices since the battle ended. The proper rites, the acknowledgements the gods require when you survive something, they could have arranged differently. He looks exhausted in the specific way a religious man looks exhausted, not in the body but somewhere behind the face. I ask him if the omens are better now. He says yes, the omens are much better now. I nod. I pick up my father's staff from the ground beside me. The wood is still warm. I do not know if it is still warm from this morning or if it is warm because the evening is warm. But the warmth is there, and I hold it. The debt is total. I did not understand that the night before I left for Thermopylae when my father said it. I was wrong about that. I think I understand it now, or something close to it. The debt is total, which means it is never paid, which means you do not get to put it down, which means the staff is always warm, which means the sound of 38,000 men not sleeping is always in your ears, which means you are always the regent standing between the alliance and the thing that would end it. The battle is over. Greece is free. I am the man who commanded the day that ended the Persian invasion. Tomorrow, the cities will begin arguing about the terms of the victory. Tomorrow, Athens will want credit, and Sparta will contest it, and Corinth will have an opinion and the alliance will begin to dissolve, the way alliances always dissolve when the thing that made them necessary has been removed. I know this is coming. I'm already tired of it. But tonight, the staff is warm in my hands and the river runs, and somewhere in the dark, the fires of our dead are still burning. And I am counting them the way my father counted, in 3s, because 3 was his number, and I have nothing else left of him except the number and the staff and the knowledge of what the debt requires. 1, 2, 3.